Welcome to the Big Biz Show.
Taking care of business.
You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
That is right. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, welcome to the Big Biz Show. We're coming to you live from the Loft 100 studios in what is now sunny Southern California. After a brief bit of much-needed rain, Costa, Mary Godwin, of course, our executive.
Did you enjoy the rain? I know you loved it.
Is Greg Todd.
I loved it.
I dug it.
I don't like to drive in it because I'm old, but I like it.
It was nice. It was nice getting a little rain.
And Sully.
Hey,
Captain Finance to you.
Can I give some very exciting news?
Yes.
Howie and Devin are together again
Yes.
at the Small Cap Conference in New Jersey.
Oh,
right
what could
now.
go wrong?
They are filming some like Mike DePasquale from
Excellent.
Oh
yeah.
he's going to be there.
Okay.
David Lucci, remember ACXP? He's
course.
going to be there.
Big fan.
So some of our clients, some of our friends, some of our show family are there. But they're going to do a Howie and Devin go to Small
Get
Cap
some
Conference.
content.
We're going to be able to dip in live with them later this week.
Oh,
So
my
it's gonna be
gosh.
good. Speaking of which, Howie Font, who lives in New York City, just across the way there,
Yep.
on his way out to go meet Devin, joins us now on the Big Biz Show. Our analyst, Howie, are you looking forward to this, or are you not looking forward?
I'm riding it out of the next contract.
Devin's like a frisbee throw away from you, man. Are you so excited?
I can tell by his expression.
There are alerts. It's like there's a flood. It's like there's some sort of fire.
Yep.
I hear cell phones going off.
We need to
Devin
get the theme
approaching.
song to The Odd Couple with Tony Curtis and Jack Klugman.
Yep.
Howie, you're way too young to remember this, but there was a play on Broadway called The Odd Couple.
Sure.
And you are basically Tony Curtis,
Yep.
who is put together, neat, orderly, and Jack Klugman was basically the guy in the Dem Bums hat with he was a sports writer.
Sports writer.
I think one of them was a stock guy, and the other was a sports writer,
Yep.
and they were roommates. And it was one of the greatest premises of television history.
I can't believe I missed
Oh,
that.
good call.
We need to put in front of the Howie and Devin go to New York. Hey, let's we had a big swoon with big tech sell-off at the beginning of the week here. I mean everything from big caps to small caps dropped like Dick Cheney's hunting partner.
Yes, love that one.
Dropped like acid before Woodstock. Dropped like a tummy tuck on a plus-size model.
Yeah.
Dropped like Mike's confidence every time he picks up a microphone.
1,000%.
But let's talk about, even NVIDIA went down 17%. That's billions of market cap. What the heck happened? Why the big swoon in tech?
Yeah, so not only was it a big swoon, it was the biggest ever single day market cap loss, and I think you've got the number for NVIDIA. Pretty crazy. It's all on the back of a newly announced white paper from a Chinese AI company that made a model called Deepseek.
Yeah.
So they instead of using the thousands of people, huge amounts of power, billions of dollars worth of chips, they purportedly, this is not confirmed, people are skeptical, but the claim is with $6 million and 200 people, they were able to make something as good as ChatGPT.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to be talking to Suresh Venkatesan a little bit later in the program today from Poet Technologies that actually talks about, Deepseek talks about Poet and how this works. But it's interesting because, Howie, I know you don't remember encyclopedias when you were a kid because you were born with the internet, but this ChatGPT and AI is as groundbreaking to the way we do business. In fact, it is more so than even Bitcoin and the blockchain. Stand by here, we're gonna get more on Howie Font coming in here because only time's gonna tell. But I think it's upon us, and when you start being able to create everything from, well, look at EVAX, one of the people that we interviewed here,
Right.
using AI to advance the science that they already know. Now they're using crowdsourcing to figure out to move their science along. Hey, maybe that's how we get flying saucers, Mike.
We are this far from Skynet going active.
That's
I'm
exactly
just
right.
telling everybody that, okay?
And you'll be able to make Funyuns at home.
you're watching, wherever you're listening, we roll along here on the Big Biz Show. Thanks for being along for the ride. Of course, that beautiful music you hear in the background is the DTT, the best in the business. Over here at the bar, I'm Costa, Mirabert Godwin, of course, our exec producer, Greg Todorov, and Sully.
Good to see you guys. Howie Font from New York City on his way over to Small Cap Conference to meet Devin for their Odd Couple reunion. And by the way, it was Tony Curtis on Broadway, Tony Randall on TV,
and Jack Lemmon and
Jack Klugman.
Jack Klugman.
Jack Lemmon on Broadway, Jack Klugman. Isn't that interesting? Two Tonys, two Jacks.
Jack
Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau.
For the movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right. There was a movie also. Hey, so Howie, is this stolen AI? Tell me what's happening with this, because this Deepseek thing is going to be. Look at when you have an impetus like this that causes an entire sector to drop like that. It means that people are taking this seriously. When you saw Chinese companies swoon about 10 years ago, it wasn't as bad as this, because remember how we were overinvested in Chinese public companies. When you saw cannabis take a swoon 12 years ago, it wasn't as big as this, even though everybody was invested in cannabis at the time. This is a little bit different. This is like when Thomas Penfield Jackson in 1999 determined that there was an antitrust going on with Microsoft and Google. And because guess what was on the way? www was coming, and it came. This is almost the same type of thing, in my opinion. The reason that's why the market took such a hit, because everybody's taking this AI ChatGPT very seriously.
Yeah, so I think the big question is, we thought we knew who these winners were. It was going to be people that had access to the billions of dollars of capital you would need to get the best models, the best compute, and who would have the storage capacity to loan it out to the rest of the world. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Anthropic, Perplexity. We thought we knew who the winners of this would be. Microsoft, you wouldn't have enough oxygen anywhere else for there to be a big winner. But if you can take $6 million and make something just as good as what ChatGPT is doing, that is a big sea change, and it means that actually, since it's more efficient, we'll see even greater demand. That we just don't know who the winners will be if it's that efficient and that low entry.
So does this cause any hitch in the giddy up, so to speak, in terms of the adoptability or the credibility of AI and ChatGPT for the rest of the world, or even worse, for the people top of the food chain? Investors.
I think it's a huge wake-up call for the U.S. tech industry, because we always think of ourselves as having the bleeding edge, and I think a lot of people were freaked out when they saw, China's right behind us and actually better at us in a lot of ways. Pound for pound, this DeepSeek beats all of our models, no question. And they were doing things that our companies hadn't thought of, and so that's why you see things like the White House coming out today saying we're looking into the security implications here. And just for Mike, a little tidbit, someone asked DeepSeek to write some code modifying itself, and it was able to double its speed in just a couple hours.
See?
So
it's over.
It is thinking for itself.
It's over.
So wait, so Howie, how long before this is verified, validated, whatever?
Yeah, so it's not technically open source based on the technical definition, but they have released a white paper with the weights, basically how the model was built. So we should be able to see if it looks like they were just scraping ChatGPT or looking at some trading data that maybe was hacked and they found publicly in China, but technically they don't have the rights to. So it's going to take a couple of weeks for people to go through and see if that was obscured in any way, if they just did it and they're just letting it be that transparent that we're just copying from you, or it'll take even longer to determine, wow, they really did do this on their own with their own proprietary data.
Space Odyssey is here.
That's the minority view, but
2001 Space Odyssey is here with the HAL 2000.
Howie, one thing to always remember, man, China ain't got no Super Bowl like America does, okay? So
Jeddah.
Yeah, park your brakes
we don't
there.
have to be nervous about. No.
Okay. Well, you talk about $6 million and what, 200 people, and that's how this deep thing came about. or whatever. So should people, like physical human beings?
Deepseek is what it's called.
Enough with the technical talk,
Yeah,
Mike.
right.
There's some of us trying to keep up.
This friggin' thing called deep funyun. Now, was it no? So should people in that sector should they be worried about? Okay, well there goes my job.
Listen, I don't think the space as a whole has shifted that much. It's still going to be tremendous. It's still going to be, like Sully said, bigger than the WWW. And we still do need to think about how that's going to make service jobs, especially, first and second year law students. Sorry, you're useless as a paralegal. A lot of paralegal work. That's the kind of thing that will happen here, and that is still going to happen.
Yeah.
And Deepseek is a phenomenon of that accelerating. But I think the question is now, who are the winners going to be? Because it could be, hundreds instead of just 5.
Howie, Bedside Manor Font.
Love him.
Buddy, good luck at the conference with Devin. We'll see you tomorrow, and can't wait to hear from you. Mike, I have a question for you. You brought up the Super Bowl,
Yes.
which makes me think economic impact.
Oh,
For what city this year?
New Orleans,
That's exactly right.
massive.
We're
Massive.
talking about, now listen, let me tell you what. Just 4 years ago, the economic impact of the Super Bowl was about $750 million. It's close to $1.3 billion in economic impact. Direct spending is close to, $300 million. Tax income is something like $100 million through the city. And let's talk about the trickle effect of how many beignets are selling, how many hot dogs. I mean, those are all part of the economic numbers, but all the small businesses that get to benefit from, people buying Duraflame logs for the tailgate parties, all the way down to the guys selling deli sandwiches right before the game. Right.
Well, and you think how now, we've all been to New Orleans. The French Quarter is not the biggest place on earth. Canal Street is not the biggest place on earth. So as this game gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people want to go, it starts bleeding out into the other areas of New Orleans. And you've got, you mentioned Cafe Du Monde and beignets, and not everyone's going to be able to go there, so they're going to have to go to another place.
That's right.
And that just drives it.
Do you reminds me? So here in Southern California, San Diego is basically like Fresno. We don't have any teams. We have the Padres, which is barely a team. But if you think in terms of LA, when they built Staples Center, Staples Center, of course, where the Lakers play, Staples Center, where all entertainment emanates from right now that you see. Staples Center was in one of the worst, before Staples Center was there, it was one of the worst areas.
Horrible.
In Los Angeles. And if you take concentric circles, geographically on the map, look at Staples Center, I'm doing a circle because it's round, and you go out, all the way out to almost Orange County, which is close to 47 miles away. Increases in real estate values have gone up.
Look what Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, has done to Inglewood. Inglewood was
Inglewood. Well, and we're talking about where Great Western Forum was. Great Western Forum was where the Lakers used to be, which is right next to Long Beach, which is next to East Long Beach, which is next to Inglewood, which was not a great part of town.
Now it is.
Now, economic impact, when I say not a great part of town, there was no tax base, there was no love for the city of Los Angeles there. And now, because of some of these sporting events, which, by the way, are not criteria specific to age or gender or income, it has created everything for everyone. So doesn't that maybe get the argument that if you can bring a Super Bowl, or if you can bring an NFL team or a NBA team into your city, and you're a city like San Diego, or you're a city like San Jose, I'm just talking West Coast cities for now, or you're a city like Fort Lauderdale, you're talking about big cities, but not big enough to have that. Wouldn't that change everything? And wouldn't the major leagues probably welcome that with open arms?
Listen, the NFL still to this day hates the fact that Dean Spanos, period.
Or the Chargers.
Or the Chargers. Hates the Chargers and hates the city of San Diego for being so ass backwards and not being able to get a stadium deal done.
Well, I'm still not over it.
They love this
Part of the problem was, and the reason they're mad at Spanos is because they, listen, I will tell you, me and a guy named Steve Hartman were called into the office of Spanos, because I was doing talk radio at the time and he was doing afternoon for sports. I was doing politics, he was doing sports. And they said, what should the message be? And both of us said, stop calling it Charger Stadium. It is a civic asset. And in every city, where people think we're lining the pockets of a billionaire by letting them build a stadium there. Well, you are lining the pockets of the billionaire, but the billionaire is only using that stadium 8 times a year, 10 times a year. The rest of it goes towards monster truck races and Billy Graham.
Anything.
And Up with People.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
NCAA championships and everything else. That's just San Diego. I've not even mentioned the Chargers once. It just seems to me that if you can activate economically an area, and is there any area in the country that needs it more than New Orleans over the course of the last?
No, they with what the city of New Orleans has gone through, they deserve every gold coin that comes their way for sure, and they'll get it again this year. And the thing is with New Orleans, we just know they had that terrorist attack, on Bourbon Street. The city of New Orleans knows how to put on a party.
Yeah, they do.
They will do a great job again.
I had the greatest time the week after the biggest party in the world.
Yes. That's the time to go. Before Mardi Gras, after, New Orleans is beautiful.
All right. We have a huge show coming up. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. Step by.
From the Loft 100 studios in sunny Southern California, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, Big Biz Show coming your way. No longer raining here in sunny Southern California. Now it's sunny. Costa Mary Bergadovin, Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully.
Are we worried about Santa Ana's again here? Are we worried about, we got a little bit of rain? Are we back to the freaking crazy fire weather?
No, we've got rain coming again next week, I believe.
Okay, goodness.
Here in
I'm ready for it with my
I
warm sweater.
I was going to say
it's 30 degrees outside.
It's January. I know.
It's freezing.
It's not 30 out. It's 68 out here in San Diego. In the mornings, though, I'll give you 30. I'll give you in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's some guy in Chicago right now going,
where I'm headed in 3 days, so I'm preparing now.
You going to Chicago?
Chicago.
Are you really?
Yes. I'll be in for a dance thing with my daughters, but yeah.
Inside or outside?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Why are you not doing more theater type stuff?
Me personally?
Yes.
I don't.
You were such a theater. I realized all this stuff with dancing with the name that tune,
the songs,
and Wheel of Bad ABBA music.
Yes. I did have my day with.
But you still do have the day.
I do, but I don't have the time right now. But they're going to be gone in a year and a half.
You're booting those kids out. Boom.
Yep. In a year and a half, I'll be back. Community theater. Here I come.
Are you going?
You'd be so friggin' good.
Oh my God.
You would be so good. I would love it.
Videos.
You start doing stuff like this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Every community theater is.
Oh yeah. Totally. I did it all.
It's like a bad, sitcom from the '80s. It's like.
I did all that.
God.
I found my high school production of Grease. Well, you're a former.
But I'm in the business.
Yeah.
But you need. I think you need a creative outlet other than.
This is it.
Who'd you play in Grease? Kaniki?
Are you?
Wow.
Did you play?
Yes.
It's just because you're tall.
I think.
Guess who I played?
Sandy.
Raw.
Of course.
Sandy.
You played Sandy?
Of course.
Sandy.
Stranded at the drive-in.
Sandy Dombrowski. Everyone thought I was like the innocent little Sandy.
Did you have that leather number on at the end there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, come on.
Of course.
Tell me about it.
I was more like.
Tell me about it.
I always wanted to be a Rizzo, but I wanted to be Rizzo.
You are such a Rizzo.
Okay, this is not a surprise for us. Let's shift the focus. Were you in music? How do you know so much about musical theater?
Yeah.
I did some musical theater in high school.
Like
type
what?
of thing.
What show?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where the plus comes running out your eyes.
That's right.
If you're in a show, if you're in shows, you always change the lyrics. Ours is
always.
Or Okinawa was the other one when the bombs come dropping.
Yeah.
So you played in Oklahoma. You were Judd.
No, I was ensemble.
Oh, ensemble.
Yeah, just kind of 1,000%.
Yeah, right.
A lot of this,
How about
a
you,
lot
Greg?
of.
Yeah. Greg was in sports.
Yeah. Now have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
When his landlord does his sequence, that's kind of my.
Did you ever do any theater? Did you do any sort of creative theater as a kid, or just
Absolutely.
You were a scratch golfer, though.
Absolutely none.
Yeah. Do you know why?
It was
do you know why? Because he's a man. That's why.
Pretty much. That's right. Yeah. Theater.
Speaking of Greg got a call from a shareholder from a company called PLUR. And the name of the company is Pluri-Biotech. And of course, he got the CEO. The CEO is Yaky Yanay. He's the CEO and president of Pluri-Biotech, and his ticker symbol PLUR, where technology comes to life all the way from, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Israel?
That's right.
My goodness.
Awesome.
So let's get to
That's how important we are.
Yaky, great to talk to you, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Speaking of Greg, Greg got a call from a shareholder from a company called PLUR. And the name of the company is Yaky Yanay. He's the CEO and president of Pluri-Biotech, and his ticker symbol PLUR, where technology comes to life all the way from, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Israel?
That's right.
Yaky, great to talk to you, sir. How are you?
Good to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, listen, we got to get you to San Diego at some point and see if you can like the weather out here, because I understand that Israel is a lot like San Diego in terms of what it looks like and what it feels like.
Yeah, I'm actually in Haifa, which is like on the seaside with mountains. It's quite like it looks very much like San Diego. The weather is good, food is good.
Nice.
The music is good, so.
Oh, well, we got to roll. Hey, I have a question about state-of-the-art 3D cell expansion. What does that mean? And talk about what you guys are doing, so for folks that don't understand what you guys are all about.
Sure. So Pluri, we are a biotech company. We are a biotech company that works with cells. We are creating a product out of cells. And when you ask me what is a 3D, just take a look at yourself. You are built from 3D, you are built from tissue, you are built from layers of cells. And this is exactly what our technology is doing. We build a technology, a bioreactor technology, that kind of mimics the human body. And we allow cells to proliferate to grow in a very natural way, kind of mimicking the structure of tissue in human body. And controlling all the environment that allow the cells to proliferate in a very natural way. And we're using this technology and this vast patent portfolio that we have around it to create different products.
And so you talk about products. You're in the agricultural space. I read about coffee, and such. Talk about that a bit.
Well, we drink coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. And that's something that came about a year ago. Pluri is active in quite a lot of verticals that we are developing our cell-based product for in order to produce different products that we used to take from nature. So 2 years ago, we built a company together with one of the largest food producers in the world that is creating cultivated meat. We are actually taking meat cells and growing them in a reactor. And the coffee story is actually funny because a year ago, I got a call from one of the largest coffee companies in the world. And they said, hey, Yaky, we are following your technology and we saw what you did on the cultivated meat. Can you do cultivated coffee, like creating a coffee in a bioreactor, as you see? And I literally started to laugh on the Zoom. I told them, guys, are you serious? Why the hell do you need cultivated coffee? I understand meat, I understand cultivated fish, but why coffee? And they told me, yeah, you're right, but in 20 years, we're going to lose 50% of the global production because of change of climate. And we need to find a solution. And then I said, oh my gosh, 50% reduction in production, that's bad news. I will not take my daily coffee from 6 cups to 3 cups, so we need to find a solution.
Well, I think on that subject, as you may be thinking, I think the real crisis would be if we have a shortage of wine coming up. So I want you guys to get to work on that.
Exactly, get on the grapes.
If we start losing grapes and wine, I think we're all in trouble.
Yaky Yanay is the CEO, president of Pluri. Their ticker symbol is PLUR. He's live with us all the way from Israel today. Yaky, how big is the public perception hurdle of lab-grown meat or lab-grown protein for people to get over before there's a seriously big adoption rate?
It's a great question because specifically on meat, we do see like the public discussions around it. Mm-hmm. Pluri is focused. We see Pluri, first of all, Pluri is a big platform that creates different products using cells. So we have some product on pharmaceuticals that we are using, and we have the cultivated meat and also on the agriculture. On the cultivated meat, we see different opinions around it. On one hand, we're seeing Florida trying to avoid it. I mean, and there's trying to pass a bill against it. But on other places, we see places that are actually trying to adopt it. And especially when you look at certain territories, and specifically on the Asian market, we see a major need.
Yaky, stay right there. We're gonna hold you over because it's so interesting. Because what I want to understand about also is you're also in the life sciences business at the same time. And you talk about adoption as a company. Adopting lab-grown meat, lab-grown coffee, lab-grown wine, get on those grapes. But now you also have to talk about a company in perception that's dealing with biopharma, biotech, as well as food and agribusiness. Stand by. His name is Yaky Yanay Name of the company is Pluri, Pluri, and their stock ticker is PLUR. We're back in just 1 second.
The Big Biz Show continues on the Loft 100 studios here in Southern California. Thanks for being along for the ride, wherever you're watching, wherever you are listening. We are joined right now by the CEO and president of Pluri. Their ticker symbol is PLUR. Yaky Yanay with us all the way from Israel.
Hey, Yaky, I'm a big coffee drinker as well, so I love to hear what you're doing in that space. But also, it seems like Pluri has all these technologies that are utilizing not just in agriculture, but also in regenerative medicine. So talk to me about PLXR18.
I'll tell you one thing that I'm probably going to put it in the right order. We are working with sales. And it's sometimes easy to ask, okay, so what is built from cells? And there is one thing that we should all understand, that everything on this planet, every organism on this planet is built from cells. We are built from cells. Our pets, food, trees, bacteria, our steaks are built from cells, everything. That's the building blocks of life. So the PLXR18 that you refer, this is one of the products that we are developing for the pharmaceutical applications. When we are taking placenta, when we are taking donated placentas after full-term delivery, extracting a certain population of cells out of there, and then we expand them in our bioreactor systems. And we can take, like, from one placenta, we can create over 20,000 treatments. And the PLXR18 is specifically designed in order to support recovery after exposure to very high level of nuclear radiation.
We need to do two different shows. We need to do two shows on you completely because of everything. And the point is that if you look into this company, and by the way, I want you to go to Pluri-biotech.com, and you'll see that you really are not bifurcated as an organization. You're just have different technologies that's using the same proprietary platform. Is that kind of the way to think about this?
Exactly. So it's a single platform, one technology, one platform, and we are able to create. I always say that we are creating the universe of companies around us. So we are creating companies or activities. Each and every one of them is focused in one thing and one thing only, but all of them going to use the same platform, the same access that we have. So it's really creating our ecosystem, and there is a series of companies around us that each and every one of them is actually the best in class in what they are doing. It can be cultivated meat, cultivated coffee. We just announced last week an acquisition.
Well, let's hold on. Hold on. I want to make an announcement here. I want to make an announcement.
Right.
I have a new hobby. I'm not kidding.
What is it?
So, my daughter McKenna is a hell of a cook.
Okay.
And I, because of her, have fed all of Greg's family through the holidays and continue to do so on a weekly basis. However, I saw my daughter send a picture over of homemade chocolate made from 100% cacao. All right?
Okay.
I learned, and I have made my 6th batch, Matt, right, of homemade chocolate from scratch.
No way.
Listen.
Wait, back up.
No, because now I got Pluri because they just got $6.5 million.
What in the wild world of sports is going on?
You guys are, this is why I interrupted him. You're going to the cacao market, aren't you, sir?
We are going to the cacao market, so make sure your daughter is calling us. Free supply for life.
Hey, listen. I want you to come back on with us. There's so much to talk about with you, and between everything you're doing, and I want to say congratulations. But you just got a $6.5 million placement with a global investor at a premium to market. Talk about a company that's got a long ways to go. Yaky, will you join us again at some point here in the very near future? We'd love to have you on.
I will. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to bring my coffee, cacao, and a steak of cultivated, and we're going to have some fun.
Yes, please.
We'll do some regeneration on Mike somehow too. Yaky, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming there with us. I have to say, I got to tell you, speaking of that, the coffee and cacao.
Yeah.
What we've been doing is I've been taking to make cacao, to homemade chocolate. You got to start with melting the cacao butter, right? So you throw that in a little bit of your coffee in the morning, right?
Really?
Listen, I'm telling you right now, I'm going in a different creative direction.
Oh my God!
No longer. Listen, Matt. Am I accurate about the? Was it?
Is it good?
It's very good. Yeah. Great. Okay.
Brandon Robinson from Horizon Aircraft, ticker symbol HOVR, had a great announcement about they were successful with their NASDAQ listing requirements. NASDAQ has been all over the map in terms of how companies can qualify to be on NASDAQ, in terms of market cap, in terms of share price, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, it was a great announcement. But what's even more important is the type of new aircraft that these guys are building and such like that. And Brendan Robinson, founder and CEO of Horizon Aircraft, stock symbol HOVR, joins us now on Zoom. Brandon, how are you, sir?
Doing very well, my friend. How are you?
I got to tell you, man, I don't know how you do everything you do. First of all, he's a stud ball fighter pilot.
Yeah, of course.
Then he's the CEO of a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
And he's also juggling the NASDAQ requirements along with everything else you're doing. Give us an update on what's happening with the company in terms of strategic planning. So I know you guys are moving the needle here in terms of business.
Yeah, it was great working with the NASDAQ. To be fair, they are, they're scrutinizing companies, the smaller companies, especially high growth companies like ours. But they were pretty relieved to see that we had some legitimate tech, a great team, a military sort of founder-led company. It was a really positive conversation ultimately with the NASDAQ, and we qualified for listing under a number of their pillars. So that's really good, and again, it's a testament to the quality of company that we're building.
Hey, I know you're short on time today because of what you're doing there strategically as a company and in your meetings and such. But we never get to talk about your team. Talk about your team for a minute. That's something we haven't spent a lot of time on here on the show.
Well, this is one of the things I'm most proud of. I mean, we have just a world-class team that's coming together. We pulled our CTO in from a leading eVTOL manufacturer and a few more world-class individuals that, of course, come with someone of his caliber. These are world leaders in aerospace, in power electronics, in propulsion technologies, and all the things that make and enable our particular aircraft. So it's been fantastic. The last position that we opened up, we had over 250 applications for. So it's a bit of a process to get through. But we're focused on continuing to keep a very high bar, elite folks that have been there and done that, and have got scars, and they know how to move this program forward practically.
Brandon, now that we're past the point of having to carpet bomb Canada, I think it's good news for both our countries. But how tough is it with your technology and what you are building to stay in one lane and keep people from, wait, if we're doing this, we should be doing this. And if we're doing that, we should be doing this over here. Is it hard?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many ways to innovate with some of the new technologies that are available to us that I think our superpower is that we're a bunch of practical folks as well.
Okay.
So, engineers can go down many different bunny trails, and they always want to optimize and improve things that may or may not, should or should not exist. We maintain, I think we're pretty proud of the fact that we maintain a kind of a practical thread throughout the company. So everything we do, we want to make sure that it can exist in the real world. It's going to make people money. It's going to be safe. And ultimately our aircraft is going to be usable for a bunch of folks. Emergency medical services like you have up there. In the military, folks are quite interested in our technology for a number of different reasons. And so that practical thread that kind of weaves everything together has been our superpower.
Hey, Brandon, I know you're short on time because of your strategic planning stuff that you're doing there, and I can't wait to have you back on here next week. I got to get you in San Diego because I know that Bloomberg wants to have you on for a lengthy Bloomberg focus. But my question has to do with commercialization and competition. Can you just briefly comment on both those things for 2025? Because I know you're doing planning right now.
Yeah, so I'll hit the last one first. So the competition has been quite interesting, I think, and I think I spoke to this last time I was on the show. You back up 3 or 4 years, people were wondering if these types of aircraft could even be certified. Fast forward to 2025, I mean, there's going to be some folks that certify these types of aircraft relatively soon, and it's not a question of if anymore. It's just kind of a question of when. And I think some of the more practical designs are sort of rising to the top. Our aircraft is focused on regional travel. So a lot of the all-electric folks, they're focused sort of intra-city, so between places within a city, 50 kilometers to 100 kilometers, or for the American folks, 30 to 50 miles. We're focused on regional travel, longer distances, doing more work faster, going between cities, if that makes sense. And that opens up a lot of really cool mission sets, and it has a lot of regional operators that are quite interested in our technology alongside, again, the emergency medical services folks. So from a competition perspective, because we're hybrid and we move faster, carry more, and go faster, there is not a lot of current competition that can operate at our speeds and our ranges. They're mostly focused on, again, those much slower machines, much more confined distances. From a commercialization perspective, we will have a full-scale aircraft up and testing in the next 24 to 30 months.
Wow.
That might sound like a little ways away.
No, that doesn't. It sounds like the speed of light, considering where you guys started. I mean, that's
absolutely. So we have a large-scale prototype that is in active flight testing. We're building full-scale aircraft parts right now. It's a pretty exciting time for Horizon Aircraft.
Brandon Robinson, founder and CEO Horizon Aircraft, ticker symbol HOVR. Can't wait to get you back on again, Brandon.
We got to get you in San Diego, buddy.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Come on, man.
Come there anytime. Love you guys.
We'll let the U.S. government let you across the border. All right, Brandon Robinson with us.
Carpet bomb Canada.
Keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network, as always. Special thanks and a shout out to the brave men and women of our United States Armed Forces. Big Biz Show rolls on here from the Loft 100 Studios. Costa, of course, Mary Bert Godwin, our executive producers, Greg Todorov, and Sully.
And what a great show we've had today as we close her down for the day. John Vandermosten is our in-house senior life science analyst, although he has not committed to that, but I just committed to it on national TV.
Nice.
So now John's committed completely. Hey, John, first of all, thanks for, oh, by the way, have you seen the LinkedIn, this is his LinkedIn, or his Twitter X thing. Have you seen the reels that take songs from the 80s and 90s that you can't understand the words, but they put people's names from LinkedIn? It's called LinkedIn Lyrics.
Oh my gosh.
You need
Yes,
to,
it's
hey,
funny.
Chris Castillo, our producer, can you look up LinkedIn Lyrics for me?
That's very funny.
And we're going to play one at the end of here. But it's amazing how LinkedIn Lyrics works. John Vandermosten was talking about the biggest life sciences conference of the year last year, JP Morgan. But, buddy, it's been a long time since we have even talked about IPOs. In the stock market. I mean, I'll tell you, I remember when the show first started back in, it was actually 1995 or 1993 on radio. And there was 19 IPOs a month back there prior to the dot-com bubble. Now, when I hear, you said the word, you and I were talking off air, and I got a text from you about IPOs. I thought, do they still do that? Well, we started this, companies are still going public with an IPO. Talk about what's happening in the biotech universe with IPOs.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd bring it up because it's an indicator of how things are going in the biotech world. You know, our investors willing to spend some money to bring new companies to the public markets. And if you recall, you know, we had a lot of IPOs, well over 125 plus, I think, in 2020 and 2021. But after that, it really fell off. And I think I was looking at some stats. I think there were 12 in 2023 and 17 last year in the biotech space. So that's pretty weak. None so far this year. But what I will say is that there have been a number of filings for new biotech IPOs so far this year, and 5 that I've seen. A lot of them are in California, up in the Bay Area, and one of the areas that's getting a lot of focus right now is the obesity GLP-1 agonist space. So that's
let me ask you something about that, because when Mary brought this to light about a year and a half ago, about this GLP-1 thing, the people were advertising for Wegovy, right? You saw it on TV. Mm-hmm. Then you saw a thing called Saxenda. Then you saw another one. There was a couple brands. Yep. But now we're seeing, and you can look no further than social media, where compounding pharmacies are now saying, you know, because there was a big, apparently it works so well, that there was a big shortage where people would get prescribed by their doctor, but they couldn't get it.
Right.
And now suddenly there's these compounding pharmacies. Is that affecting the IPO market for some of those, for that area, or is it helping?
Well, I think that the new products and development are trying to solve some of the shortcomings of Wegovy and all the semaglutide variants that are out there. I mean, there's a few different ways that they're trying to do this. One is by providing an oral option. Right now it's injected, right, which is kind of
You
inconvenient.
gotta get a shot?
Yeah.
I'm so out. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll become Fat Bastard from the movie with Mike Myers. I'm not. Listen, if there's a shot involved, I don't even get my blood taken
You
anymore.
don't like needles?
Yeah, no.
No needles?
A lot of people don't like shots.
Only for heroin when we do a show, but
Right. Other than
I'm not doing needles. No. If I can sniff it, if I can drink it, if I can pill it, I'll do that.
John, you should be keep your eye out for my IPO for Sofata. It's going to hit the market.
Sofata.
Yeah.
Is that a GLP-2?
It's
with the success of these, though, and we're talking about IPOs, are there a lot of companies now trying to throw their hat in the ring and come out with their dietary, I guess, for lack of a better term,
which is a great point, because whoever's making these Wegovy's, they can spin that off into its own company, how popular they are at this point.
That's true. But I mean, you probably have heard about, not only is there the injection thing, but there's also the muscle wasting, the sarcopenia, which is also an issue. And there's a few other issues.
Wait. Just because you're a bio geek and we have no idea what you're talking about, that means that people, like, one of the things that they're saying a
side effect
is you lose muscle mass if you're not actively exercising.
Exactly.
If you're just a fatty and you take this and you get skinnier, now you're skinny fat, you weigh less, but your muscles are,
because you're not lifting so much weight anymore, so you're not building up that muscle.
Yeah, that's why they say, well, you don't snore as much, it's much better for that, and your back's better. Well, it's because you're less because for a while there, Mike and I were going to just sink to the center of the earth into the mantle. And what happened to those guys? Well, they just got so big that they went in.
They fell into themselves.
And every once in a while,
they're in the magma.
And now they're in the. And every once in a while, with a stiff breeze, you can just smell Mike.
Or one of the tectonic
being
plates.
barbecued out there for lunch. So, but that's a great point, though. Are they? Because this is the equivalent in my mind. Because if you think in terms of disease, okay. You think polio vaccine. You think cures for cancer. This is so top of mind to people in terms of what they look like, how they feel about themselves, the incidence of obesity and heart disease. This is a whole game changer, and it needs to be really addressed like you're talking about here, because this is not just a fad thing. It's working for people, apparently, not without side effects, but on an economic model, I got to believe that there's a real opportunity here as investors if these things go forward. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. They're trying to, as I mentioned, they're trying to address some of the shortcomings. The main things being get an oral version, address the muscle wasting. Also, longer acting is another approach. These are generally taken every 2 weeks, so if you could take it once a month, at least for the shot anyway, that makes it a bit easier. So there's a whole host of things that that can be done to address that, and then also some of these drugs that are already approved, they may address other things too. And I think we talked about this on a previous show, but investors seem to be willing to put money towards that. I think each of the two companies, let me remind myself, one of them is called Aardvark Therapeutics, and the other one is called Metsera. And both of those guys are looking for $200 million to advance their candidates in later stage trials.
John, thanks so much as usual. 100% educational and give us some opportunities. John Vandermosten there. You can go at VanJohn10 to find him on X. Did you guys find that? The LinkedIn lyrics thing for me, Jared and Chris? Okay, here. I want you to see this. Have you seen these things?
Funny, yeah.
No, I've never heard of
Watch
this.
How do we do this?
Okay.
It's so clever.
That is awesome.
Oh, listen, these guys are going to put it down.
There we go. All right, much more with the Big Biz Show. Keep it here.